you stay there. It's not necessarily the other person in that particular moment. It's something within self, you know.
Yes.
So yeah. Oh
So,
hell
and Jessica said both of her parents. You say toxic or narcissistic, Jessica? How are you feeling about that?
yeah. And good morning, Jessica.
And I would like to say, yes, I think a lot of times we try to, she brings up a good point, to just frame this in and around um, romantic relationships.
Yeah.
But we're talking all relationships here, not just romantic,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Familial, friends,
Mm-hmm.
co-workers, right? Because as we move through life, we're going to have all these experiences with these different people. And yes, some of them are going to be bad relationships. Some of them are going to be ones where we need to figure out how to get out,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, sometimes let's talk a little bit about how we can identify kind of these toxic and narcissistic relationships. Now, see, that's interesting. Jessica said they're definitely toxic, but I haven't learned until now. And as you get older, we're going to take a sidebar because I want to talk about that a little bit. Sometimes with our parents, they're they're definitely toxic, and we feel like we cannot cut our parents, our sisters, our brothers, our family off, because after all, that's your mother, that's your father. But you have to take your self-care, your wellness, and your health into your own hands. And if that means that you have to limit your interactions with family members, whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
parent or not, nobody has the right to impart their toxicity on your life. And a lot of times, sometimes parents don't mean to be, but sometimes they know exactly what they're doing, and
Oh
they
yeah.
want to keep a stronghold on their children, on their family, right? And sometimes we don't know it because this is what we're used to. If that's all you, if toxic is all you know, it's now the normal. And you don't, sometimes you don't even realize it until you go somewhere and look at a family that's not toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, all families don't act like my family, right? Like I've said on the show, maybe it was here, maybe on Nicole's, I had a family member who stole my identity.
Well, that's all
You
part
know?
of that generational curse, man.
Yeah.
Misinformed people, misinforming people. You know what I'm saying? Through generations, through generations. So, man, you have to, that's an onion that has so many layers that has to be
Oh
pulled
yeah.
back. You know what I'm saying? That has to be pulled back. But, you know, um, it can be done, you know, it can be done.
It just
You know,
takes work and it takes commitment.
it takes honesty with self, and you got to be brutally honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And then that's when you start uh, doing things that will better you. You know what I'm saying? Because once I learned how to stop hurting me, ooh, ooh,
Now that's a word right there. A lot.
mm-hmm,
I learned how to stop hurting me.
me,
Now what? Now that brings up a good subject. What if you are the toxic one, right? What if
right?
you are the toxic one in the relationship? I don't really follow social media too closely, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what about um the one thing that keeps popping up on my timeline is Blueface and Krishan Rock. Their whole relationship is nothing but toxic. Nothing but toxic. All you see is him damaging her, her damaging him. Like I'm talking about going to blows.
Mm-hmm.
They broke up 47 million times, but they come back together, right? Sometimes it's not that you're fearful. Sometimes, what do they call it? Paulette would know the word. It's you have these soul ties, right?
Okay.
And it makes it hard for you to let go of that person. You have to do some internal cleansing. And like you said, you have to focus on self and be willing to look at and address your own problems in why am I so drawn to this person
There
who
you
brings
go.
out the worst in me?
There you go. And to get even deeper, what is it that's in me that's got me so afraid that I want to stay in this mess with this
Now,
individual?
sometimes it's because the person is a master manipulator, right? If think of it this way, if you've spent 3, 4, 5 years with a person in
No,
every
no,
day.
no, no, no. Give it a good 10.
All right, let's give it 10. Let's give it
Yeah.
10. Okay. Michael, oh my God, look, Michael, where have you been, sir? Haven't seen you in forever. But Michael says sometimes people can only function in a toxic relationship. They need drama to feel alive. Now, I agree with that. But let's say you've been with somebody for 10 years
Mm-hmm.
and 90% of that time, they've been making little subtle jabs, little subtle digs about how you dress, how you look, how you walk, who your friends are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you love this person. This person says they love you, right? The toxicity isn't always physical. It starts mentally first because they
Always.
have to get control of your mind first. And that's why you cannot, that's why sometimes they cannot break those soul ties because that person has got in their mind and has you now believing that you ain't the shit. That there's not another man or another woman out there on the planet that would love to have you, right? And so
And that's it.
yes, we have to look at ourselves, but sometimes we need help to get to that point because we can no longer even see ourselves. All we see is their version of us, right?
Right.
So how do we get to that point to where we know we need help and we are strong enough to get out?
You know, my grandmama always told me, whenever you want to seek the truth in a situation, always go look in that mirror.
Mhm.
You
I
feel what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Always go look in that mirror. Now, in dealing and see, this is a real touchy subject because in dealing with feelings and emotions, when it comes to the women, you know what I'm saying? Uh, I myself as
Mhm.
a man, you know, uh, usually ain't really thinking about no woman's feeling and emotions. Just being 100.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Man, especially when I'm with the fellas, you know. So,
Mhm.
not saying I don't know how to tap into my female side because I grew up in a house of all women, but I am a man, so I am quite naturally going to adapt to the male side of, see, I'm gonna do it. You tell me what you want done. I'm gonna go get this shit done. You see what I'm saying? But if you constantly, coming at me like this here, then I'm
You're gonna
finna flip
shut
the
down.
strip.
Yeah, you're gonna shut down. But I think it's on both sides, right?
Yeah.
Because we all come into relationships, like I said, romantic, friendship, whatever, with preconceived notions and expectations of that other person.
Mm-hmm.
So I come in expecting that you're going to behave the way that I want you to. That's where people get the situation fucked up,
Yeah.
right?
100.
Because we put and we're
Mm-hmm.
also coming from our past experiences, right? So we're looking through our rose colored glasses and we're expecting the next person to do, act, and feel opposite of what we know that the bad things that have happened to us are.
Yeah.
And you cannot come into a relationship, bring that energy to a new person. But let's back up a little bit and let's talk about some of the signs. And then I have a little exercise for people to follow along. Is Some of the signs that you're in a toxic relationship. Like I said, somebody who is constantly putting you down or being excessively critical of you, the way you look, the way you speak, the way you act. They are very judgmental. They may exhibit controlling behavior, restricting access to money, telling you what you can and cannot wear, telling you who you can and cannot see.
Yeah.
Right? Trying to limit your communication with your family and friends. That's kind of moving into the narcissistic side.
Yeah.
Right?
I had
And
a
then
homie.
stonewalling, shutting down all communication. So go ahead. What you were going to say?
Yeah, I got a homie. His woman is totally like that with him. You know what I'm saying? And it's it's challenging to see a man who I know love this woman dearly
Mm-hmm.
take him through the things that she take him through. You
Yeah.
dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're looking at this person, you're like, well, what's going on with my friend? Because this is not the strong whatever. But and I think that makes them bring up another good point. A lot of times when we think of toxic and narcissistic, we tend to think, especially narcissism, we tend to think men more, right? Men
Right.
controlling men are, but I'm here to tell you, it is equal.
Oh
Men,
yeah.
women, everybody. Narcissism runs on both sides equally. So, as we're trying to talk about narcissistic and toxic men, we have to do the same with women. There are women out here that are trying to control access to their children because you won't be in a relationship with them, right?
Right.
There are people who are out here who are just always trying to maintain a level of control over somebody to get them to do what they want. These are all trauma responses, though, because somewhere in their life, they didn't feel that they had control of their life. Somebody made them not feel safe. Somebody made them feel like they didn't have a voice and they didn't have control. Now they need to exhibit that on others. I'm going to prove to you that I'm in control. Or somebody hurt me so bad, now every other man after it has to bear the brunt of what that man caused. Because,
Yeah.
like you said, we haven't looked inside,
Yeah.
right? So, as we're looking at the other person, it's super important for us to look inside of ourselves. So, let's take a jump into narcissism, right? A lot of times with narcissists, they really try, they start out in the beginning and they're wonderful, it's glorious. They are everything that you've ever wanted or needed in a man or woman in a relationship. Work, oh my God, my boss is so great. I love this, blah, 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 right?
Right.
But then they start to kind of turn, right? Because they're giving you this feeling of that they are everything that you need in whatever that situation is. And then they're going to try to control the things that you do. Well, you know what? You should be doing this. You should be doing that. And subtly, there starts to show these cracks and these problems. But somehow it's always your fault.
Always.
I beat the hell out of you because you made
Because you
me angry.
made me yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? You made
Yeah.
me angry. They try to alienate you from your family and friends because, again, they need to be the most important thing in your world. And when you act out of that, they're going to make you feel like shit so that they can gain more control or tell you, you said you would never hurt me like they did. They guilt trip you.
Oh yeah, that guilt is a motherfucker too. So yeah.
Guilt is such a big emotion because it preys on things that it preys on trauma that we've had already in our life. No, I never want to hurt this person and blah, blah, blah. But it's a manipulator.
So my question is from the from the beginning, do you think that that's their ulterior motive? from the get-go?
I think it depends, right? With narcissists, yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is their end game. They want control. They want to own that relationship. You are their property. They don't go into it thinking that this is a partnership.
A partnership. Okay.
You
It's
are
the
my
commodity.
woman. You are
Right.
my man.
My
And you will
commodity.
do
Okay.
right.
Okay. Now I got you now.
Right.
Now we back right here. Come on, girl.
So
Now
I
you
was
preaching.
watching, I was on Facebook, and this guy was like, he only dates younger women
Mm-hmm.
because they're not, I guess maybe me paraphrasing, tarnished or jaded from all these other experiences, right? And that they will, they're impressionable. But
Mm-hmm.
he didn't feel that impressionable meant that he can train them in the way that he wants them to be. And when everybody started coming at him, he was like, yeah, but even at a job, they look for impressionable people. I was like, sir, you're going against your whole point. When I hire somebody that's young and impressionable, it's because I want to train them in my way of doing things. So it's done how I want it, how I need it done. People are not property. We're not a commodity, right? You should not be there trying to train a person. That's narcissistic because you want to have ultimately control over her. And you know, an older woman ain't with the bullshit most times. Now, sometimes they are. Age does not mean wisdom.
Well, you know, them cougars gonna be cougars now. Wow.
You know what? Don't.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Don't you start that.
I'm just saying.
We's over here having
Come
a
on now.
nice.
Come on.
We's
You
over
know
here
we
having
keep
a
it 100.
nice
Them cougars gonna
conversation.
just be cougars. You
Well,
know
I'm
that.
not a cougar, so I would.
I'm
Not.
just saying.
Look,
I know a couple
I
of
am
them.
not a cougar, so I would not know, Tony.
I'm just saying. I know a couple of them. You know. I'm just saying.
But I agree. Cougars are the same way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because what do? They take younger men. They're going to shower them with all the things that they want, but they're going to have very specific things that you have to do, where, act, and be.
Yeah.
But in that instance, is it narcissistic? I guess it depends for me. And has nothing to do with cougars or whether, I think it's, do you go into that with an open mind and you know what it is? Or are you going to it thinking that person, that there's something building with that person, right? Because on the same side, that younger man being with that older woman, he knows what she wants. He knows what he's doing. That younger woman going to be with that older man, old enough to be her daddy, maybe a grandpa, they know what it is. So in that instance, is it toxic or narcissistic when you are walking into a situation? Or is it an arrangement? Is it a business deal that you two have set up? What you think?
What are your hidden agenda? That's
on
all.
Whose side?
On both sides, because both got something to give. Come on now. It takes two to tango, don't it? I can't step without a partner.
And that's the point. And I think a lot of times people want to say, oh, she's this and she's that. No, we have to step in and we have to understand our part in this. And we have to look for what are the ways that we can get out. And we done got through all the whole, most of the show. We only got 5 minutes left, Tony, already. Yes, we got 5 minutes left, right?
Wow.
Maybe Paulette won't be mad if we go over a few minutes. Maybe should be,
Because I was ready for the quiz.
Right, we still doing it. We still doing it, the worksheet.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to put a little
to this worksheet together. You always get good information with them worksheets, girl.
This is the thing. I'm gonna walk through it right now with you because I do think it's important that we have tools that can help us, right?
Mm-hmm.
To deal with all the things. And if you would like to get a copy of this, I'm going to put the link in the chat so that you too can go ahead and get a copy of this download. So if you're watching us online, You'll be able to go and get it. You can head on over to brownstoneworldwide.com/BWTV, and you'll be able to join the conversation there and watch all of our shows. Again, I'm Leanne Dose, host of Wake Up Happy Sis, and you're listening to KCCR The Brownstone, where we're changing the narrative for our Black and brown people, one show, one person at a time. So real quick, let's talk about this worksheet, right?
Right.
What you're going to do, because a lot of times we hang on to these relationships that the Almighty Lord, Allah, whoever you want to call your higher power, has been trying to break up. And we so hard to these relationships. But let's try to identify, right? So what you're going to do, you're going to take a piece of paper, you're going to have 3 columns. The first column, you're going to put the name of, we're just going to do up to 5. 5 relationships that you find challenging. Write their names. The second column, you're going to write the relationship you have with that person. This is my mother. This is my coworker. This is my boss, right? The third one, you're going to leave blank for right now. Our second step is to identify why each of those relationships is toxic, because that's what we're going to put in the third column. And it could be that this person makes me feel unsafe. It could be that this person is manipulative, conniving. Oh, I ain't used the word conniving in some years.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Conniving, you conniving. Ooh.
Or I always feel on guard when I'm around this person, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm obligated to spend time with this person. Like when you're a little kid and they always tell you, come sit on Uncle Johnny or Aunt May's lap or come kiss whatever. Kids should not be required to do any of that. Right? It makes me not feel safe. You telling me to come kiss this person, I may have feelings or just not feel comfortable with that. And you want me to do that. Right? And it might just be that this person, if we're talking about a friendship, does not have any of the qualities that I really am looking for and require in a friend, and that I exhibit to my friends, or just anything, right?
Right.
I'm tired of this person making me feel like my needs have to always take a back seat. And then you're going to just choose one of those relationships. Which of those up to 5 is the most toxic? And what is it that's causing you the most stress in this relationship? Right now, you're going to write that down. What is causing you the most stress? This is going to require you to think.
Oh, yeah.
Process. This is not a 2-minute thing. You might be working on this for 30, 40 minutes. Then you got to think about what are the ways that you are devoting time and energy to this person or relationship. At work, I'm always going back and forth in email with this person. I have to have, they're always scheduling meetings with me, right? This person texts me, my boyfriend texts me all day long complaining about XYZ, right? Think about all the ways that you are devoting time and energy and putting that into this relationship, whether it be a personal, platonic, and a romantic, a work relationship. And then indirect time. What am I doing indirectly? How often am I thinking about the trauma, the stress with this person, right? How often am I being upset by this person? Because sometimes we have to put it in perspective, right? We have to put it in perspective in our mind so we can see just how much time this relationship and these negative feelings are consuming my existence. And then look at what is this relationship costing you, right? What are you missing out on because of the amount of time and energy? Because now you've quantified it. You've put down all the direct and indirect time and energy you've put into this person. Now I've got something to value it. Now, what am I missing out on because of all that time I've spent on this relationship? I've been in this relationship for 10 years and I've been unhappy for 8. Sometimes we don't know because we've never sat down and put it on paper.
Fact.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it costing you peace of mind? Is it costing you relationships because now you don't have good relationship with your parents, with your family, with your friends? You may have lost your job because they keep coming up to your job and acting a fool. What is it costing you? And then decide how best to manage the relationship. You got options. Everybody always has options. You can do nothing and let it continue as it is and continue to be unhappy, continue to be sad, continue to be angry, continue to be manipulated. You can take a step back and say, hey, we need to evaluate some things. I need to be a little more hands off, right? A little more hands off, and you can leave. Now, leaving is not always easy because sometimes these people are not trying to let you go. And so you have to look at what's the most feasible option. If you're in an abusive, toxic relationship, sometimes you can't just up and leave. You have to plan that out. And I'm talking planning financially, planning emotionally, and planning for your safety.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm not here to tell you just up and leave.
No.
Sit and think and plan and strategize how you can get yourself out of that situation.
Yeah.
You know? And then at the end, what are the actions that you're going to take? That's how you're going to end this. What are the actions that you're going to take to resolve this toxic or narcissistic relationship? How are you going to get away if you chose to leave? You may not be able to leave immediately, but are there things you can do in the interim to kind of lessen the negativity that's coming to you? Right? Are there things that you can do to try and take steps back and to find resources? Reach out to a therapist, reach out to a domestic violence shelter, reach out to friends and family that you know love and support you so that you can create an exit strategy that works for you and your children if you've got children in this relationship, right? There's a lot of aspects to toxic narcissistic relationships, and the main one is healing you first so that you don't continue to blame yourself. How did I get in this relationship? Why didn't I get out? I'm letting myself be abused. My kids are going through this and they're seeing this and they're traumatized. You have to give yourself grace and forgiveness and not take that with you into the next, and get help. And then strategize how to leave. Because once you get help, you're going to feel stronger, more confident, and you're going to be able to plan out how to leave safely. And then how to set those boundaries once you're gone, especially if you have kids with this person, right? I call them your significant jerk. They're not your significant other if it's in a romantic relationship. You're a significant jerk. And that jerk, it doesn't even have to be romantic. Your significant jerk could be your parent, your boss. How do you get away? How do you get out? How do you help yourself to move past that and heal so that you don't carry that into another relationship? Because unfortunately, there are certain types of people that are more likely to, this is research based, that are more likely to attract a toxic or narcissistic relationship. And those are people who have suffered trauma, abuse, and things before. Because why? Because their mental and their emotional health is already low. They don't have the self-awareness and feelings of self-worth, right? So they're a lot easier sometimes for people to manipulate, and people look for that. If you've looked at pimps and the type of women that they usually tried to get to turn into hoes and prostitutes. They go for what? They go for the easy marks. The women that don't have anybody have had abusive situations. Look at R. Kelly. That's how he was picking these girls, because he was really good at determining who these people were, who these girls were. And this came from the girl's story herself. This ain't me picking this up. So don't be trying to sue me, R. Kelly. This is these girls' stories that have come out and survived it. Right? They're good at picking the people that need help. And we have to help ourselves. Yes, you have to help ourselves first, because who's going to help us? What you say, Tony, all the time? We all we got.
Hey, we all we got, for real.
We all
And see, I like this here because this, like you say, this ain't no 5-10 minute type of ordeal right here. This is something where you have to really dig within thyself. You know, you have to dig into thyself, and you know, the hurting factor for me in this whole equation is having to carry other people's luggage that I didn't ask to carry, all because my heart telling me to, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of deep soul searching within self. And that's when I say you have to be butt naked honest with yourself in that mirror and pull back them layers, man, until you get to that point where you know this is it. This is what I need to address right here. Yeah. This is it. You know, and then from that point on, everything else gonna change. It's gonna elevate to a different thing, because now your conscience has been taken care of. You then went back to the root. Once you get back to that root, that source of that, now I understand it. I can't run from it no more. Now I gotta confront it. And it was me all the time. You know, I still had to go back to that little 4-year-old boy at times. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point in time, he used to always wonder where his daddy was. Why on that? You know what I'm saying? That missing element.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that incompleteness.
We have to do that work on us, because a lot of times, like you said, it's that little 4-year-old, scared little 4-year-old boy that's in here who's hurting, who we never healed.
Never.
Right? And it's going to rear its ugly head at some time in the future. So you have to do the work, right? It's like a preemptive strike.
Yeah.
We have to start working and healing us so that we don't allow these things to come in to our atmosphere and hurt us and harm us. And I'm sorry if y'all can hear my dog barking, because he is having a whole fit right now. He is traumatized, apparently, because he can't be in the room with me right now.
Right.
I'm going to say this and then we'll wrap up. I was reading this listening to this TikTok, and the lady was talking about her marriage and how their marriage started off really great. The first 8 years, they were married 10 years. Started off really great the first 8 years, and then she got a promotion at work, and she started making more money than her husband at the same time that her husband was getting not demoted, but they were cutting his hours, right? So now there's this disparity in pay. He's not the provider anymore. So she starts feeling like, I've got to work more hours. Now she's jealous because he's spending more time with their kids, right? She gets home after these long hours and the kids are already fed, all that, and she mad because the dishes ain't done, right? So now she's building up all these things in her head. And long story short, she's the toxic one. But in her mind, she has made it that he is the toxic one. She's the victim. So we have to realize sometimes we create the narratives. And that's why I asked earlier, what if you're the toxic one? She ended up filing for divorce because she was thinking, now I'm going to be free. Because she didn't cheated on this man. Okay. She's treated him like total shit, like total garbage. And this was a good man who loved the hell out of her. She ultimately beat his spirit down so much that even on the day they got divorced and she signed the papers, he still asked her, please don't do this. Let's work on our marriage. But she was too far gone.
Yeah.
It didn't realize until it started to hit her when she was gone that, oh, my kids hate me because they know what happened. I've let this other relationship go, but now my job is suffering because I can't work all these hours anymore because I've got my kids, because I didn't let the kids go with their daddy.
Right.
Right. So now we've got all these problems. She ended up going through therapy because she done went in some group, and you know how some of these nagging women are. Oh, you're right, girl. He is horrible. He's this. You're only getting one side of the story. And she's only telling it from her perspective. So yes, of course he looks bad. Think about it. If somebody always tells you only something negative about somebody, you're never going to like that person. When you meet them, you're going to hate them because all you know is that one-sided negative. Hey, Nicole Boo, thanks for joining. So at the end, she had to do work on her because she realized that she fucked up. I don't know if we're supposed to be cussing, but she fucked up.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I did.
She realized that she messed up. And when she went back to, and had the nerve to ask that man, could they get back together?
Well, you know.
I was on the floor, like Paulette says. I was on the floor. The audacity of her to break that man's spirit and then have the nerve. I was mad.
Why?
Say, can we try this again?
No, you know, she had to go back and try again.
Oh no, he's like, I don't think I could ever trust you again. So I'm happy that he stood for himself, because the problem is too many times what happens.
Baby, come on, okay, baby.
Right. You know, you was going right there with it. I'm gonna do better. I ain't never gonna hit you.
Right.
And we get back into that cycle of taking the abuser back.
I'll call the police on you. You do that. I'm telling you. I'll get you out of here. I ain't lying.
Yes.
Yep. That's it, boss lady. The lies yep.
And eventually it was our fault that he beat us up because I knew he was stressed and
I made him stressed, so I just walked into his fist.
Right. We don't do that. Where they do that at? Now I'm not blaming the women.
You know, hey.
Or the abused. What I'm saying is,
Lord help me.
We have to control our lives. We have to stand up for our health, wealth, prosperity, happiness. How we gonna wake up happy, sis, if we living under somebody else's foot? They got their foot right on our neck. Oh, Tony said he calling the police.
Yeah, I'm calling.
He all the way calling the police.
I'm calling the popo. I'm calling. Them. Yes, and I'm coming to court.
Period.
For real.
Dressed to the nines too. You gonna see
me? I'm coming to court. See, we got to stop this madness, cause man.
Yes.
I'm telling you, I'm glad you waking the people up, man, because it's time for us to change the narrative, man, to get real with it, with self. You know what I'm saying, man? It's time. It's been time. You know what I'm saying? You know,
like your grandmama told you, we got to look in the mirror first.
That mirror don't lie. You know what I'm saying? And she, man, I'm talking about, man, she taught me that as a shorty, you know, as a shorty. Because she always told me, man, everything that you need is within you. You got to go and seek within.
That's right. Now,
you know what I'm saying?
We got to wrap up because we about 15 minutes over, Tony.
Okay.
We just shut it down. We just shut it down today. This was such a good topic. So we're going to be continuing this topic and others right here on KCCR The Brownstone. I'm your host, Leanne Dulce. I got my, he's like everybody's co-host because Tony show up for everybody, okay?
I love y'all.
We love you too.
Yeah.
So tell the people where they can find you, DJ Tony.
You can find me every Saturday and Sunday night at KCCR Radio, right here at the Brownstone, where we are changing the narrative. I got to get Boss Lady in the picture. You know, I got to get Boss Lady in the picture. Got to get in the picture. Yes, 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 yes. And you can catch the Eye of the Storm at Spreaker.com. You know what I'm saying? Uh, man, once again, thank you for the invite. I told you I was gonna make. I told you I was gonna make it. I told you I'm coming. I'm coming this time because I've been. I ain't never been really with that. You know that time zone thing. You know, if you tell me 8 o'clock, I'm automatically thinking everything Chicago time. You know.
That's why I started telling you on your time.
Yeah, so yeah. So now I got it. So you know, I won't be late for class again. You can believe that.
All right. Well, everybody, make sure that you stay tuned to KCCR The Brownstone and that you head on over to Brownstone Worldwide /BWTV so you can actually join the conversations. We are streamed on so many platforms. It's ridiculous. It's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Okay. We everywhere. But make sure you head on over to brownstoneworldwide.com, sign up for the newsletter. We got a magazine. Okay, that's what's behind Tony. You can get a subscription to the magazine so we can keep the conversations going, right? And make sure that you come in tonight and listen to my boo, the Nicole Johnson, on The Money Matters, affectionately known as the gym, where they have well, I ain't gonna say it like her, routines to help you get financially fit. I tried my best, Nicole. I ain't got it, but you know, I tried.
She got it though. She
right. We also got Dr. Michelle Josie, who has what is the name of Dr. Michelle's show? Numbers Don't Lie.
It's the ain't it something like
Numbers Don't Lie.
Oh, Boss Lady say bring your fan. I ain't got no fan yet. I gotta get a fan. But we gotta get a
don't make it's over there. Because you know on the Code Show, we fan.
Yeah.
Don't make me get it. It's right there. Okay. Make sure. Okay, and Marshawn O'Lanion tonight as well.
Tonight.
Right? So we got shows. We got our lineup of awesome hosts that you need to tune in, get involved with, and bring a friend. So with that, I'm going to leave you with this quote. I ain't gonna read the whole thing because you know Maya Angelou, who is my favorite person, was a little bit long-winded, but I love her and she could be as long-winded as she wanted to. There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Our own stories can be incredibly powerful and helpful and help us to navigate through any struggles we may face in life, especially when it comes to getting out of relationships that no longer serve us. When we take the time to deep dive into our own experiences, we can gain clarity on the steps that need to be taken in order to make positive changes in our lives. It's important to remember that while leaving toxic relationships can be difficult, it can open up pathways for tremendous personal growth and healing. Every journey starts with one step, and by taking responsibility for our own lives, we're able to create new possibilities for ourselves. So, thank y'all for joining. Yes, we clack at all times on Girl, Your Money Matters. Thank y'all for joining. Y'all have a blessed and prosperous day, and we'll see you right back here next Monday morning.
Bye-bye.